Let's get one thing straight. Your goals are definitely achievable, and the life of your dreams is out there waiting for you to create it. But in order to achieve those goals, you're definitely going to have to make some sacrifices. And yes, that means either waking up earlier to exercise before you have to go into work, or to write a chapter of your book before you have to go into your day job, or it means sacrificing a lunch hour to do one of those things. But there are some sacrifices you're going to have to make in order to achieve your goals. We are not all privileged. We don't actually have the same 24 hours in a day. Some people are more privileged than others. Taking me, for example, I've only been able to write the books that I've been able to write in the past few years because I get a lot of childcare support from my mother-in-law who comes to watch my kids. Not only that, but I work a job that I really love and doesn't sap me so much emotionally. Like, yeah, there have been a lot of things happening at my job in the past few years that have been a little stressful, but that comes with every job. And I'm very lucky to work a job where I can be passionate and creative, where it adds in a way to my creativity in my writing. So hi, by the way, my name is Hoang and I'm an author and librarian. I wrote the books Girl Giant and the Monkey King, which is a middle grade novel based on Vietnamese mythology. And there's a sequel called Girl Giant and the Jade War, where the main character has made all these mistakes that she now has to fix. And then I also write books for adults. My adult debut novel is a historical fantasy called MONSTROUS Mrs. Mai, which is about 4 young women who accidentally become witches in order to pay rent in 1959 Los Angeles. And also Silver and Smoke, which is about 2 demonic starlets. If any of those sound exciting to you, please give one of them a try. And let's get into the video. In order to achieve everything we want to achieve, we have to pick and choose our sacrifices and pleasures. I keep using the word sacrifice, but I'm going to switch gears and say rather than thinking of these as sacrifices, think of them as choosing small pleasures over others. For example, if you are trying to get into a better fitness routine, or you want a better body, or you want to look and feel good about yourself, you're going to have to sacrifice the pleasure of eating ice cream after dinner for the other pleasure of feeling good about yourself and feeling good in your own body down the line. So rather than think of it as like sacrificing this ice cream, you think of it as like you're actually going after a different sort of reward instead. For me, I really love to run, and running itself is a reward, but there are days where it's really challenging to even lace up my shoes and get out there, especially when it's hot or I've eaten a really big meal and I just don't want to get out there and I know it's going to be a bad run. I think of it as more like I am sacrificing the pleasure of being complacent and resting right now for the pleasure of feeling really empowered in an hour, for the feeling of empowerment and amazingness and confidence and aliveness that I'm going to feel after my run. Especially if I do something very physically challenging and rewarding, that in itself is going to feel so amazing that it doesn't even compare to the reward I had to give up, which was sitting around doing nothing. Thinking about it in terms not of sacrifice, but instead choosing and picking the rewards that you are going to give yourself makes it a lot easier to strike this balance. And then it's also important to know that even too much of a good thing can be bad. Like, I used to run every day and I was constantly injuring myself and constantly getting sick from over-exercising. And I actually had to stop because I was damaging my knees so bad that my doctors told me I had to rest. And that's why I gave it up for a number of years and only picked it up recently, because I am learning how to do it in a safer way and striking a balance between what's good for me versus what I want to do. And I really do want to run, but I also want to do it in a healthy way that's actually beneficial to me this time rather than constantly making me sick. It comes down to balance, where you're willing to sacrifice one small reward for a bigger reward, but then also trying to balance your life in a way where it doesn't necessarily always have to feel like such a sacrifice. Being consistent is also going to be the key to your success. Consistency is going to boil down to small steps and little things that you do every single day, something that you can stick to. Sure, if you eat a salad one day, your body's going to feel good for that one day. You're not going to notice a difference unless you do that every single day, where you're making these small, attainable little habits that build up into larger goals. I also try to give myself little rewards or breaks in between so I don't burn myself out. While you're switching from the mindset of these are sacrifices you have to make to more like little pleasures you can give yourself, you should also try to change it up now and then and give yourself breaks so that these things actually remain pleasurable and you can kind of trick your brain into thinking of them as rewards and things that you actually look forward to. One important thing that I have learned over the past year is to distinguish between good pain and bad pain. So good pain, stuff like muscle soreness or when your muscles get fatigued, that is good pain. It will make you stronger down the line. But bad pain, like knee pain or Achilles tendonitis, if I try to push through those kinds of pains, I will just permanently damage myself. And I've learned to distinguish between that even in other areas of my life. Like when I'm writing, I know that there are some days where the good pain is just like the pain of pushing myself to become a better writer. It's like there's this resistance that I feel to getting started or to just working on a chapter because I feel so lazy. That pain is a pain I can push through. But there are other days where the pain of writing is just too much. It's emotionally draining. I'm going through something tough that I just can't push through. That's a pain that I know that I shouldn't keep writing through because that will just cause further damage both to my psyche and to the novel down the line. And so I've just learned to distinguish between those two. The sooner that you can distinguish between good pain and bad pain in your own life, the better you'll be able to efficiently move forward with whatever you're trying to accomplish. A technique that I try to do every once in a while is to just picture myself a year from now. Am I a fitter, hotter, healthier, more intelligent, creative, sophisticated version of myself? And if I could give a message back to old me, what would I say? Or if I can receive a message now from that higher version of me, what would she tell me realistically? Like what tips would she give me? If she was recording a video to me right now, what would she say? If you have a moment, try to do that. Picture a version of yourself in the future. What would they say to you? If you could receive a video from them right now, kind of like how I'm speaking to you through this video, what would that person say? Try to emulate that and picture what tips would she give you. Like, would she tell you to wake up early every day, go work out, or work on your novel during lunch? What goals are you trying to accomplish? The future you has already accomplished those goals. What would she say to you now to help you further along in your journey? If this is hard for you to do, why don't you picture yourself last year? If you could give tips and advice to last year's version of you, what would you say to them to get to where you are now? Or what would you say to them in order to change their life now? Because here's a phenomenon that I heard about recently. So many people are willing to go to the past to change something, some event in their past, or to start doing something differently from a moment in their past. But then what if this is the moment of your past that you would go back to and change? You can start right now. You can start doing that in this very moment, and you wouldn't have to travel back into the past because it starts now, because your life-changing moment starts right now. So what would you say to yourself, and what would you do differently from how you've been living your life? There is no reason that you can't improve right now. The only person in your way is you. Sure, you might be in certain circumstances. List them down, things that are gonna cause you some problems as you try to improve and change yourself, and then tackle them one by one. It doesn't have to be hard things all at once. Tackle the small things. Do that every day until it becomes easier. And then when it becomes easier, then tackle the next big thing. The bridge of incidence of achieving your dreams starts the moment that you say that you want to achieve those dreams. Whatever little voice is telling you to go out there right now and start trying to accomplish your goals, listen to that voice. That voice is trying to inspire you to take action to achieve your dreams. Here's something practical that you can start doing right now, which is printing out a timetable of your day and taking an inventory of your life. I printed out a time blocking schedule template, and then I filled it out for 3 to 4 days before I changed anything about my life. I wanted to take an inventory of how I was spending my time before I decided to change anything about how I spent my time. And I filled it out for 3 to 4 days, and I was completely honest with myself. No shame here. This is not the time for judgment. This is just data so that you can work with this data in order to move forward. I labeled everything that I absolutely needed to do, which is like eating, sleeping, spending time with my family, working, obligations, that sort of thing. Then I labeled things that I shouldn't do, which is like social media, TV, doom scrolling. I did this slowly throughout the course of the week so that I didn't rush through it, and so that I could be completely honest with myself and to notice what I was actually doing this over the course of the week will give you a more accurate data. Once I did this, I started to see that there were patterns where I had like an hour or two in the day that I could have been using for something more useful towards my goals. Like instead of doom scrolling, I could have been using that hour to write a chapter of my book or getting in an hour of exercise. Over time, I saw that there were lots of holes in my schedule. Despite the fact that I kept thinking I didn't have any time to do the things that I needed to do, I saw that I was doing something like social media for 15 minutes or whatever. And it all amounted into like 1 or 2 hours a day where I could have been doing something more useful, like writing my novel or going for a walk or fitting in an hour of exercise. These were moments that I would not have discovered if I hadn't done an inventory of my life first or been completely honest with myself with no shame or judgment to see that I actually do have some time that I can sacrifice. So again, it all comes down to making small sacrifices for bigger rewards down the line, or rather choosing choosing a bigger reward over the small reward that you're going to give yourself now, and thinking about it in terms of balance is actually easier than just thinking about it in terms of sacrifice, or that you have to suffer in order to achieve what you want. You actually don't have to suffer. If you change your mindset and see it all as one big reward, then not only will achieving your goals become easier, but you'll see that you are doing these things for yourself in order to become a better version of yourself. And it starts today. I hope you go out there and change your life in some way, even if it's just a small incremental step, and start empowering yourself to get the life and dreams and goals that you want. So again, my name is Van. If you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. I also have a newsletter that I put out every month where I give updates on my publishing journey, what I'm writing, what I'm working on, other crafts and things that I am obsessed with. You can sign up on my website, authorvanhoang.com, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.